Hey everyone, it's Shipra.
And it's Shivam.
And welcome to Qatar.
We're here for a few days as part of our honeymoon adventure to check out a few local places to eat, things to see, and to soak up the sun on the beach. So since this is a very special trip for us, it being our honeymoon, we decided to book some more special accommodations for this trip than we usually do. The first place we're staying here in Qatar is the Chedi. So this is a 5-star resort, and we have the beachfront room. We ended up booking this place after a lot of research because we found that it was actually the highest rated place in all of the Doha area, and it didn't even have like a single bad review. And what we can tell already is that it is very fancy. So we have a nice closet over here for all of our storage. And then we have the bathroom over here with a couple of vanities and the nice big shower with rainfall over there. And then heading actually into the room, we have this big bed. And then we have a nice sitting area for us to sit. I guess the TV is over on the side. But the main feature of this room that we'll show tomorrow, once it's the morning, is right through these windows, which is an entrance directly to the pool and the beach area. So it should be a nice time here at the Chedi. And the room came with a couple of gifts. Some stuff for Shipra to eat.
So our first stop after coming to the hotel is Katara Village. So this is kind of like an arts district. They have an art academy here, publishing house, and even a movie theater. And we're out on the search for food, so we stopped by at an Indian place. It's pretty crowded here, so that means I think the food is going to be good. It's called Chapati and Karak, and it looks like it's in Doha and in London. We're going to London next year, so we'll check it out there too. So we got a chapati with za'atar and cheese, and then we also got a chapati with egg and cheese. And we also got a Karak Kit Kat shake, so we'll see how it is. Time for a taste test. It's a little salty. It's good. That's good. That's really good. It's like chai and chocolate combined.
If you couldn't tell, Shipra loves the Middle East.
So Shivam couldn't resist but get another one. What have you got there?
I got the chapati with honey. Oh, it's really hot, but I was tempted to get the Nutella one, but I wanted to get the honey one because honey is a bit more Middle Eastern.
Nutella's too American.
Yeah.
It reminds me of something that we used to make when we were kids. My mom would make like a chapati, and she would put ghee inside of it and then sugar. And it was so good, and we would have that as like dessert at the end.
That doesn't sound good to me. Ghee is gross. After walking around Katara Village for a little bit, we came back to our hotel to check out the back area of it. So this is something we saw a lot of pictures of online, but honestly in person it's even better than I would have thought. We have this really nice infinity pool here with twinkle lights, so it gives this really cool appeal. Unfortunately the pool is closed at 6 p.m., but hopefully we can hit that tomorrow. And you have this pristine beach on this side, which I don't even know if anyone's going to be on that beach tomorrow, but we're definitely going to be on that beach tomorrow. And another place we're also going to check out, which is right over there. There's an island which is called Marsa, which has a very nice looking restaurant. So we actually watched this video of things to do in Qatar, and one of them just happened to be with David Beckham, and he just started eating at that restaurant. So we decided we need to eat at that restaurant, and it just happened to be part of our hotel. So we're excited to try that out. But it's really nice we have that beach view room because we're able to just directly walk out of the room right into this area. So we had a really fun time this afternoon just hanging by the pool, checking out the skyline views and the beach. It's actually a really great atmosphere. I think Shipra described it as the best pool she's ever been to. And I have to agree, honestly, it was very nice temperature. The weather outside was perfect for pool weather, and there was practically no one out there. Now we are here for a late lunch at a place called Jamavar. So this is a restaurant chain that's only in a few different places, but their location in London is actually a Michelin star restaurant. And we're here at the Doha restaurant because we're not in London, but if we like it enough, we'll be in London next year and we might check it out again.
So we just finished dinner here at the Jamavar Restaurant, and it was an interesting experience to say the least. I think the food was definitely pretty high quality, which is something we would expect at kind of a 5-star dining experience. However, I do think that the service is a little bit overbearing, at least for us. I think we're pretty independent people, and like we're pretty used to just like serving ourselves and being able to just kind of do things ourselves. So that's always like a little interesting experience when we come here to the Middle East. Definitely not the first time we've experienced where they're like gonna kind of ask you if they can serve you, and then like want you to be super comfortable and like almost as if like they would like feed you if you asked them to. Like that's how intense it is. But overall, I think the food was pretty decent. I think the flavors weren't necessarily up to par with what I would expect, but I think it is a nice place to get Indian food if you're ever in this area.
I think we're gonna try and find Shipra some Karak now though.
They didn't even have it at the hotel, which I was so disappointed about.
Yeah,
but
it was very interesting. Our server was someone who was Indian, but then seemed to not know what chai was.
Yeah. What chai is like basically the equivalent of, in the Middle East they call it karak because it's like made with some slightly different spices and it's a little bit more, I think, like intense with the spices compared to what your traditional chai would be in India. But yeah, I thought for a fact that they would like have that available in the morning.
Yeah, at the hotel.
But it seems like they were more interested in providing people like espresso drinks, which
yeah, made with an espresso machine.
I was like, no, I want the traditional stuff. I don't want the espresso drinks.
So we're gonna try and find some right now.
Yeah.
Shipra's been actively looking on Google Maps for reviews for places that are popular around here.
Yeah, we're gonna try to go find, there's this chain called Naimi, and I heard on Reddit that that's like the best place to get Karak around here, so we're gonna go check it out.
As we just saw, downtown Doha has a lot of impressive buildings, but the most impressive building by far and away, and the most iconic building here in Doha, is the one right behind me, which is the National Museum of Qatar. So this is a museum that primarily focuses on the history of Qatar, going back to their Bedouin roots all the way up to the modern day into their focus on oil and various other industries here in the region. So this building is very interesting because it's modeled after a desert rose crystal. So desert rose crystal is when rocks naturally form in the shape of a rose. So you can find these here in Qatar, but also across the world. But what we're gonna be able to do now that the museum is actually closed, we're just gonna kind of walk around and take a look at various different locations around to see if there's some nice spots for some pictures. And I think this is actually a nice area to come if you're just looking to do like a picnic or something like that as well.
I think the most interesting thing about this building for me is just the architecture and how it's built. You know, when you see a square building, you just kind of assume that like it's architecturally sound and has a good foundation, but like this just seems like a total masterpiece, right? It's like, how do they get all these different pieces to fit together and make sure like the building doesn't just collapse in on itself? It's definitely something that I would want to learn about. So per recommendation from Reddit, we went to try this Naimi Cafeteria Karak, and it's pretty good. It's pretty sweet, so I was kind of surprised by that. I got the saffron Karak, so you get that kind of saffron taste in it. It was okay. I think I'm more used to chai, which usually has a lot more milk in it, and Karak is made from a different type of tea and they put less milk, so it's a different type of flavor, but good to try when you're here in Qatar.
So we're now checking out an area called Souq Waqif. So souks are traditional Middle Eastern markets. Our mission here today is to find Shipra a pair of sunglasses.
I forgot my Ray-Bans, or well, I think misplaced them, which is pretty normal for me. So like 5 seconds before leaving, I was like, where are my sunglasses? And then the Uber driver was here, so we had to leave. So time to find some cheap sunglasses now.
Well, let's see if we can find some traditional cheap sunglasses.
Yes, let's do it.
So we were definitely unsuccessful. We could not find any sunglasses in there. It's a lot of what I would say knockoff jerseys, traditional clothing, food, restaurants, that sort of thing. It's a nice place to walk around, and I think it's a good atmosphere. It's a lot different from Katara village where we were last night because there's a lot more people here. It seems like there's a lot more activity and it's a lot more popular. But yeah, we couldn't find what we needed.
So this is actually the first souk that I've been to. I've never been to a souk before. I think there's some souks in Oman as well, and maybe in the UAE that we actually thought about going to, but we just didn't get any time. I know specifically in Oman, there was like a very specific time at which it was open and we weren't able to go during that time. But souks are pretty popular for like spices and honey and all these different local delicacies. So it's like a nice cultural immersion type of experience. I don't think I really come here to shop because I don't need anything from here. And Shivam is against buying souvenirs because apparently all of our souvenirs are just the photos that we take back from our vacations. But nevertheless, good cultural experience, and I'm enjoying my Karak while seeing it all.
The last location we're checking out here today in Doha is the Pearl. So the Pearl is essentially Doha's attempt at almost like a Palm of Dubai. It's a man-made island, artificial island, with a lot of different hotels, a lot of different restaurants, and almost like an imitation Dubai marina right here to the left.
So it's pretty quiet here at the Pearl, which is surprising, but kind of reminds me of the Marina, Dubai. I think when we went, it was maybe slightly more crowded than this, but I think people tend to come out a little bit later. I think It's about 8 o'clock right now, so maybe the party hasn't started yet. But I think this area is similar to the marina in Dubai where we have a lot of expats living. There's a ton of buildings around. And I think it would be pretty easy as an expat to live here as well. We've been speaking primarily only English with everyone here, and it seems like everyone understands at least enough English to communicate, I think, which makes it kind of international friendly.
There's literally no one. It feels like an experiment of build it and they will come, and they didn't come. There's actually, literally, we're walking past these restaurants, brand new restaurants. There's people waiting inside to play a guitar for the restaurant customers, and there's not a single person in the restaurant. And people are just falling asleep at their stores because there's no one coming.
On the bright side, if we ever wanted any food, we would instantly get a table.
So all we've been doing today is relaxing, really, just by hanging by the pool. But peak relaxation right now is ordering some food from Talabat, which is basically the DoorDash or Uber Eats of the Middle East, and watching an F1 race. So it's the race in Singapore, and we're actually here at a time where it is the normal time for us. Usually these races happen at like 6 a.m. or 4 a.m. Pacific time, but luckily today it's 3 p.m. so we can nicely relax and watch. Whew. It has been a very fun day, but also tiring for me at least. I think I'm still getting used to the time adjustment, but this morning was a lot of fun. We spent another day just relaxing by the pool, checking out the views from the hotel, and just enjoying our time swimming around.
I had such a good time. I just took a nap at the beach for a solid hour, I think.
Yeah.
In the burning heat, but it was like so nice because we were under this cabana and it was like shaded. It was so warm out. We had just gone in the pool and I came out and I took a nice nap. It was one of the best naps I've had in a while.
But then we had a reservation at a restaurant that's attached to the hotel here. I had mentioned earlier that we had seen it online because we were watching this video about places to see here in Qatar. And there was this video narrated by David Beckham of him just going around places, and that restaurant was actually it. So we ended up getting there just a little bit late, but it didn't matter at all. I think there was maybe 2 people in the restaurant other than us.
It felt like a private dining experience.
Yeah.
It was kind of a private dining experience.
Yeah, it was, because we had gone to the main area, but there's a lot of aroma therapy type stuff happening at this hotel. So the main area smelled a little bit weird, so they took us off to a side area. And that was nice. It was a little bit hard to eat because it was a sofa, but it was still nice.
Yeah.
And we got a few different things: a mushroom risotto, some pumpkin soup, and some za'atar flatbread. And it was overall, the food was really, really good. Actually, it was surprisingly good. I wasn't expecting too much, but the service here, as opposed to everywhere else we've been, was very fast and good in the sense that they weren't up in your face trying to get you to do stuff or trying to serve you and things like that. Overall, the service was great, and they even brought us a couple desserts at the end, and the views were really, really solid.
It was a nice way to end off, I think, our trip in Doha.
Yeah.
Since we're heading out tomorrow.
Yes, yeah. Overall, I think my impressions of Doha, I actually liked it quite a bit. My impressions were a little bit more mild towards the beginning. I wasn't quite sure how it stacked up against other areas here in the GCC countries. I will say I still like Oman better and Abu Dhabi, but this place has its own charm too, in the sense that it's a lot of development. There's still a lot of things you'd be able to do in terms of eating and enjoying resorts and stuff like that. I would say there's a little bit less to do in terms of activities, and there's also less of a crowd in a lot of places, but I think that's actually a positive in a sense. I think anywhere you want to go, you just walk in, there's immediately a table, and there's no reservation needed or anything.
I think it ended up being a good place for us to pick as we wanted this time to be a time where we could relax because it was going to be a really long flight, and it was really convenient that we were able to do the stopover program, stay for a couple of days. Just soak in the sun, sleep, just really relax. And I think we were able to achieve that before the intensity that is going to be the next 2 weeks.
I liked it here. I think I would come back. Maybe it would be more centered around an activity if we came back for a race like the F1 race that happens here in Qatar.
Maybe we'll come next year.
Yeah. So
now we're on a mission to go find sunglasses for me. On the search for sunglasses, we actually came over to Katara village again. And we found a little nook that's actually pretty happening. I think it's like one of the most happening places we happened to stumble upon this trip. And it seems like there's outdoor air conditioning here, which is pretty cool. I have no idea where it's coming from, but it's very nice and cool out here.